All right. I saw it in the chat room. Everyone's talking about Monday. Monday is my favorite day. You know it. Why? Because so much is happening. And we have a lot of news to bring to you today. I know if you've been paying attention on the weekend, you've seen a lot of the stories that we're going to talk about today. We're going to share our opinions on it. Let me bring on my amazing co-host, Mr. Lewis Herms, who will bring the heat today. I promise you. How are you, Lewis?
Hi, Captain Imbriali. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, what did you do on the weekend?
Worked?
Oh,
I think there was a
it
truth-a-thon
was a
from what I heard.
truth-a-thon. Yep.
Was it? I hear it was pretty damn good too.
I hear it was pretty good. Had a few little guests on there, and everyone was bringing the heat, and it was really, really good. We had a little technical issue on my end, so I wasn't actually able to participate, but I was behind the scenes controlling a lot of the bells and whistles.
Oh no, you were participating all right. You just weren't in front of the camera, but you were definitely
I
participating.
think I have more gray hair today than I did Saturday morning when I woke up, but hey, it is what it is.
It's funny. We were just talking offline about technology,
Mhm.
and with comes with technology comes with updates.
Yes.
And I'm the guy, which is different from you. I run from technology. If technology can work for my advantage, show me how to do it, and I'll do the basics, and that's about it. Um, but I love technology at the same time, but it also frustrates me.
Right.
And then, so we have these updates that come through the phone, right? And I will not ever do an update until they force me to do the update, right? I just refuse to do it because something always goes wrong, or I'm used to a certain way of things and styles, and the update comes, and next thing you know, I have to relearn everything, right? So, according to you, there was a Zoom update maybe or a Wirecast update, but they weren't talking to each other properly and suddenly it did, but it was too
Yeah,
late
then I
by
I
then.
have two different programs that can bring Zoom into Wirecast. Wirecast being our broadcast software that we use here in the studio. And I have two different ways to bring it in. I can bring it directly into Wirecast, connect directly to Zoom, which is the normal way I do it. That works great. And there's another piece of software called Zoom Bridge that I use. Both of them wouldn't connect into Wirecast. And then after the show was all done, after we were on the air for 8+ hours, whatever it was a long day. I just wouldn't let it sit. I said, I'm rebooting, and I rebooted everything, and everything worked. I'm like, oh, darn. you you just don't know. You just don't know
Well,
sometimes. But, you can't let it get to you. You just got to, like, I always have a backup. I always have Zoom loaded directly as a screen capture. That's why the lip sync was a little bit off on Saturday. I apologize for that. It's the backup system. It's if everything else fails, I always have a backup, and we went to the backup system, and that's what we're using all day. So,
well, and you were the backup system too, because they don't know, but most of the screen switching, well, except the automated, but there was a
right.
lot that you had to manually do
Yeah.
in order to put two on or three on or one on. That was all manual.
Yeah, and like I said, there's always a backup, and yeah, and when you're playing in this kind of arena, you've got to have that because you can't just say, "Hey, we're going to do no show today because we had a technical issue." We're going to do everything we can. Now, there were also problems with Rumble on Saturday. I don't know if you noticed, but Rumble was stalling a lot. I monitor. I have a computer off to my side here, and I monitor. I keep the Rumble streams up, and I play them, and they were choking. You get the little loading, buffering constantly. It was happening. Other people were complaining about it too. And then JC and Janine canceled two shows last week because Rumble wasn't working at all for them. So there are some issues out there.
Well, and Saturday, actually, on the Truthathon, I had several reports of people getting kicked off
Mhm.
while they were watching,
Yep.
try to go back on, had to turn their phones off or do an update, resubscribe, can't get into chat now. They could only see chat. They couldn't see the feed,
Yep.
couldn't see the feed, couldn't see the chat. I mean, I was watching and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of Rumble issues on
There are a
that
lot
day.
of Rumble issues.
So
Yeah.
since Rumble still lets us stay on their platform, let's just say Rumble was being attacked. It wasn't Rumble's fault, which that's what the CEO said. So we're just going to go with that.
I really look at technology because I've been really heavily involved since the 80s. I think I started using Windows in 1987, Windows 2.0. Still had a Commodore 64 running back then, And I look at technology and it's like we've
You're the
been,
guy that had an abacus and still called it a computer,
well,
right?
not quite that far back, but yes, my first computer was a TRS 80 in 1980. That was a long time ago. And, I look at technology and it's like we've always had these issues because our desire to use the technology, for some reason, Lewis, we're always on the cutting edge. I started doing live video in 2004, believe it or not. And the video
Well,
is
let me
literally the
rephrase
size of a
that,
postage
Robert.
stamp.
Yeah, let me rephrase that and give credit where credit's due. For some reason, you are always on the cutting edge. I'm way behind the times on technology. So I have to give you all the credit for being on the cutting edge,
Well,
not
we're
me.
we're both there because we do this work. You've been doing interviews before you met me. You've been doing this. We use the technology, right? We want to do things that sometimes we look at the internet. And we say, oh, it's so mature. It's not. It's extremely fragile, right? All the technologies. I
Yeah,
open up
true.
computers. I've been building computers now since 1987. I open them up and I look in there and I go, how in the world does this thing even work? Right? It doesn't make any sense. There's so many different companies and drivers and all the rest of it, and somehow you power it up and you get the screen
Yeah.
to come on. It's just amazing to me.
Well, if anybody really, it's really interesting how, often I say simple is God's work, right? If you ever want to know why Apple became so amazingly um, productive in what they put out there and accepted worldwide faster than pretty much any other company ever, it's because they simplified everything.
Right.
Where Microsoft and all their products were very complicated in comparison, and the original iPhones were literally one touch. Okay, this goes there, very basic usage, and then they added into the quality of their products on their um, what are they called, iPods and all that stuff, and people were like, wow. And all they did is simplify everything.
Yeah.
They understood the end user, I think, better than any other company out there. And I'm not even a fan of Apple, but you got to give them props. Their products were amazing quality at the time, just so streamlined, so put together, and everything was very simple. One touch, two touch, and that was it.
And
Pretty
that's the
amazing.
frustration for people like me who like not to have one touch, to like know what's going on. When it
Right.
works great, and when it doesn't work, you've got nowhere to turn because you don't even get error messages most of the time.
That's right.
You know,
And because you're a troubleshooter, you would like
right?
to figure it out and troubleshoot it. And if you have something that's encapsulated like Apple, you really can't do that.
You get in trouble really quickly. So that's why we stick on the Windows side. I've used Apple. I've had jobs where I had to use Macs and things like that, and I've done it. It's it is what it is. It's not my favorite, and it's not a battle between Windows and Mac. It's like they both serve their purpose, and so be it. You know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So. All right, it was a quite interesting day on Saturday. We had many guests, as you know, all day long. We had different guests coming on. Was there anything in your mind that stuck out as a trend between many of the guests? There's a couple of things that stuck out for me.
I haven't given that any thought.
Hmm.
As a trend. Hmm.
November 5th was a trend,
Well, yeah. Well,
right?
yeah, I really think we're going to hear a lot about November, the 5th of November. I really think that's going to be a
Yeah,
theme.
yeah.
The question is it going to happen or not is really what my question is.
And that was what I saw when Dylan Lewis Monroe won. There was a few of them there that were very much thinking unlikely that it's going to happen in November.
And I'm happy they are because you and I have been talking about this for over a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been on the same thing consistent. I don't think it's going to happen. Um, and it's harder to hold that ground the closer you get to the date. It's real easy for me to waffle off of that, but there's still a lot that can happen, in my opinion. If it does happen, it is from the Hillary campaign.
Yeah.
But think about this. The reason why the Democrats would never say that and ask for an audit, because if for every 10 votes that we may have, or the good guys may have put in there, there's probably 200 votes that the bad guys put in there. So that's why they would never call for an audit. So to me, it was a safe cheat. But they had, if we were going to win this war, and if it is a military campaign, which I believe it is, they had to ensure that DJT got in office, right? And I know people, the reason why Robert and I, or let's say I'll speak for myself, don't get too much traction is because we never will go into what the messaging camp is. Well, you can't say that, Lewis. That's not the message.
Hmm.
You're not driving us in the right direction. No, all we want is honesty and truth, and let the cards fall or the chips fall where they fall. So, in my opinion, and I've got somebody pretty prominent on air. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. That's an investigator on this to admit to me when I asked him the question on air. He's like, "Yeah, you're right." I'm like, "Whoa!" And then I talked to this guy in private, and I felt actually bad that I put it on air because I wasn't trying to expose him, but nobody picked up on it, so that was great. And then I talked to him in private, and he goes, Lewis, you're 100% right, and it's a must. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm just saying, am I okay with it? Absolutely. It's a military style campaign. You had to get him in the office in order to take the deep state down,
Yeah,
right?
because if Hillary would have gotten in 2016, we would have been here a long time ago.
Yeah,
We've been wiped out.
we'll be working on pirate ships in the galleys.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
just saying, you know what I mean? It's not wouldn't have been good right now.
Yeah. Well, the more laws they pass, the more they make illegal. They make criminals out of all of us. Because the truth of the matter is, it's like we're breaking laws all the time. We don't even know about them. It's kind of funny. It's like you're supposed to know every law that's out there, but even the lawyers don't. You know what I mean? Come on, give me a break.
Right.
And you can't use
And
ignorance as a defense, which is strange. Because if I don't know about it, how do I know I'm breaking it? You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And the reality, guys, is this is one of many reasons why myself and Ethan, I think Robert's in that realm now too. We call them gray hats, not white hats. It's because they're going to have to do some things that are not on the up and up to win this war. And it's not fun, and it's not going to make us feel very good, but it has to be done. And that's just the way it is. And that's why I really believe that we, the people, are the white hats. And I think we can do things as righteous as possible. We can lead by example. We can reform our governments, reform our legislation, reform our judicial system, reform school, reform big pharma, or get rid of it altogether, reform our medical industry, reform big education. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's all up to we the people, and God gives us that ability. We just need to grab it.
Yeah, we talked about that too. I think last week we talked about it. You know, the more of us that start saying no to a lot of this stuff, we take their power away. Everything we push against, we just keep giving them more and more power. So we've got to stop pushing against a lot of these systems and just ignore them. And you know, they don't have the ability to enforce the myriad of laws that they have on the books anyway. What are they going to do?
So
Arrest
true.
everybody? You know what I mean? At some point, it's
They,
crazy.
they can, and
Yeah,
that's why the strength is definitely in numbers.
yeah.
I do really believe, and maybe I have my rose-colored glasses on today, and I have my Pollyanna vision on full high speed. But I really do believe that we the people are getting it, and we're coming around. And I believe the numbers are already overwhelming. You can't put the genie back in the bottle anymore, and the deep state is virtually done. Um,
Yep.
so will there probably be some more arrests and some more Hillary type Clinton hit list things? There could be, but I really see it less and less and less moving forward.
Heather Mullins, former reporter at Real America's Voice, posted this morning. She said one of her family members that disowned her back in 2021, thinking she was a conspiracy theorist, would stop talking to her. She talked to her for the first time on the weekend, and she said, I'm voting for Trump." And she almost fell off her chair. What now? How is this? And we're hearing more and
Wow.
more stories of this, right? So what that tells me is there's traction out there, even though they may not be public about it. They may not be going to the rallies and so on and so forth. There's a lot more support for turning this around because people have eyes, and you know, they could look at, oh, unemployment's 3%. Yeah, so why are all these people standing on the sidewalk, right? You're looking for work. All these people who the unemployment numbers are jacked up. Why? Because people are taking 2 and 3 part-time jobs, right? Because of
Hmm.
Obamacare. A lot of companies don't hire
That's right.
full-time. They hire under, I think it's under 30 hours a week. So they got 1 part-time job, 2 part-time job, 3 part-time job, and that's counted as 3 people employed. It's not. It's 1 person employed 3 times.
Well, interesting enough, you'd say that. That rule was shifted under Obama. It used to be 32 hours
Hmm.
or more equaled a full-time job.
Right.
And then suddenly that disappeared in order to support the numbers. It's interesting. Let's back step a second. You said the word disowned, and two of my daughters have disowned me, right? But if you break down that word, like the English language, it's pretty jacked up, right?
Hmm.
Do I really want to be owned anyways?
Probably not, right?
So I don't know.
How true? How true? Well, I've seen it in my own world. Family members have started. Yeah. Medical
Yeah, now they're asking
assistance in
questions.
death. MAID. MAID. Strange acronym.
It's all weird.
Yeah.
It's wacky. Wacky.
Matt Geiger told us to let you know that a lot of people contacted him on the Truthathon. If you want to find out more about investing in silver and gold, he is our sponsor, and we really appreciate him. Midas Gold Group, just go there and have a look, or give Matt a call. That is his cell phone number. You can text him, you can call him, and he's working diligently to get back to everyone. I know he was working on Sunday calling people back. So have a conversation with him. Find out what gold and silver can do for you. Is it right for you? Is it something you should be investing in? Remember, it is a value store is what it is. It holds the value. When our fiat currency starts to fall apart, well, if you've got physical metals on you, you'll still have something going forward. Matt Geiger, MidasGoldGroup.com.
Hey, does anybody out there want a 1 ounce silver coin?
Ooh.
1 ounce silver coin, right? I just picked a number between 1 and 100 in chat. Be the first in chat to guess the number, and we'll send you a actual 1 ounce silver coin, U.S. Mint, the real deal.
Woo. It's
And
getting
then,
good here. We give money away on this show. This is cool.
I know, but what's the problem? We don't want to make money. This is give it away.
That's right. We don't have 1 million subscribers yet. What is up with us? We're doing something wrong. Pascal Najadi, the son of the co-founder of the World Economic Forum, who claims he's directly involved. What did you think of his presentation on Saturday?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm on a lot of, you don't know how many people have texted me and emailed and want to know my opinion on this, right? So I'm going to talk about, Pat Blair, you just won. Pat Blair guest number 42. Good job, Pat Blair. Pat, email me at screwbiggov@protonmail.com. Screwbiggov@protonmail.com. Screwbiggov@protonmail.com, and I will get you one of these coinages. Good job. Congratulations.
Oh, Whitney
amazing how many
42
people
guest number
jump in.
44. She should have used her number and her name. Whitney 42. She would have won.
Yep.
Oh, Whitney came so close. Okay. So, Pascal, let's get back to...
So I'm going to be talking about my Herms business of heat. We'll kind of cover some of this.
Okay. We can hold it to there if you want to.
To the truthers.
Yeah.
I'll just say, as of now, I'm on the fence.
Okay.
But I really want to talk to him about Switzerland. And really only Switzerland. The other stuff doesn't interest me too much, but that's me, because a lot of it is interesting for sure, but redundant from Q and Derek Johnson and some other things there. As you know, I always like to find the idiosyncrasies in the conversation, and his in-depth knowledge of Switzerland and his connections to Switzerland and his father. That intrigues me more than predicting the future and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's never been my deal, but that's just me.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I wasn't quite sure where to place him on that. I've got to do a little bit more digging in to see the other things that he's done in other interviews. I think he was with Joe and Scott as well. They interviewed him, and I think they were responsible for bringing him on, were they? I think.
Yeah, so I was already in contact with him
Okay.
through a mutual friend of his is a mutual friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to keep him anonymous.
Right.
So we were already in contact. Joe and Scott happened to be talking to him that day, and they said, "Hey, would you like him to take our spot?" Which I thought was great. In fact, did we ever put up? I think we did Joe and Scott's link tree, because I just wanted to take care of them.
I don't think we'd put it on the live show, no.
Okay. If not, maybe I'll pop it up on my Telegram, because that gets the most action anyways.
Okay, yeah. That'll be helpful. Yeah, so...
we did mention it on the show.
We
Yes,
did?
we did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Linktree /TruthStream. But you guys go there and support Joe and Scott. They work so hard, and they have a full interview with Pascal Najati that was pretty damn good from what I hear. Also,
Okay. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that I'll go in and watch and get a little bit more info on him. He kind of, it felt like to me, he jumped into the middle of a conversation that wasn't quite there yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
I hear you.
yeah. There wasn't quite the introduction. There wasn't, you know what I mean? It was kind of last minute. It wasn't, yeah. So okay, no big deal. It was good to have a surprise guest on the show. Juan mentioned something that I thought was kind of interesting toward the end there. He said one of the things that's going to happen with November 5th to derail it, well, we talked about, the Summer of Love, all the protests coming up, and we see them. They're extremely coordinated between all the universities, all the kids uprising, supporting Palestinians, right? So we're seeing that going on, doing a lot of destruction, a lot of damage to the colleges and universities around the country. We see it's not stopping anytime soon. The other thing he mentioned I thought was kind of interesting. He said we're going to have weather 27th. Bam, 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 bam. It's over and over again.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. All of a sudden, we have 2 days of the most violent tornadoes. One thing I noticed, Lewis, I don't know if you picked up on it at all. They normally categorize the size of the tornado, right? They say it's F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 is their biggest category. They weren't doing that.
Maybe they didn't have the time.
Maybe there's no
Maybe there were
category.
yeah, or maybe there's so many of them they just couldn't do it. Or you're thinking there wasn't even a category.
Well, I think there wasn't even a category. There was one tornado. There was a video, and I tried to find it again today. I saw it, I think, on Saturday night, where there were multiple funnels. There were 4 funnels coming out of one cloud, which nobody had ever seen that before. It's like, what now? How in the world? Right?
I think that's category W for wacky.
Whack killed. Everyone went to shelter. I guess that was the deal. Is kind of
Well, I believe
interesting.
they weren't staying on the ground as long as some of the big tornadoes stay either,
Yeah.
which maybe that is indicative of weather manipulation, right? If it's natural, it has to do the regular path and it stays down lower. But if these were manufactured, maybe they're just quick hitting up. I don't know. Sure, it causes chaos though, and ultimately that's what the deep state likes to do.
Well, the low pressure, I think, is a low pressure system where the tornadoes were normally, you'll see it moves across the land, right? It just moves. And what was happening is it was going and then it would regenerate where it started. It would come again. And it would come again. And they're like, this is not normal. This is not the way this works. This flows. This goes through, the tornadoes come through and they keep going.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it just kept coming back over and over again. And they were perplexed. They said, we've never seen anything like this. There was also one fellow, I don't know how accurate it is, he was showing the weather radar. And he was showing that there was pulsing happening before the tornadoes hit. And a lot of people are now saying it was HARP that was behind that.
No,
You
HARP
know a little
doesn't.
bit more about HARP than I do.
HARP's been shut down. HARP's fake. HARP never existed. Okay, sarcasm
Yep.
in there, just so you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I believe I discovered how Google directly covered up HARP in collusion with our federal government,
Ooh.
actually. So I was studying HARP while some of you may not even been born. I don't know. It was a ways back, and Google's still out there. It fairly new, but what happened is we were looking at HARP, and it was different when you forwarded stuff. We really didn't have social media, so it would be through email. Here's a link or here's the website, go here, so on and so forth. And the talk of it kind of went through that. There were some type of forums, as you would say, right? And we did have access to some forums, and we're talking about it. But interesting enough, HARP really started to gain some traction, and that's HAARP, right? It really started to gain some traction, and it was clear weather manipulation. We knew it. Everybody knew it. We've had confirmation years after. What's interesting is a lot of people really started to look at it, and these websites would get a lot of hits, so much that even if you spelled HARP incorrectly as HARP, the Google search engine would bring it up pretty high, right? Interesting enough, and I find this very, very interesting, the government came out with the most aggressive refinance loan program in the history of the world. And what did they name it? They named it HARP.
Oh, wow.
Within a day, we went from looking at things at the top of the page to 11, 12 pages down, not 11 or 12 spots, 11 to 12 pages, which overnight eliminated the fervor over HARP.
Wow.
This is only my theory. It was completely done on purpose. I believe it was the Google colluded with the feds, probably the CIA or DARPA, right, which is a branch of CIA, and that's what they came up with. Now, there's been corroboration in that in the after that, because we've seen it happen time and time and time again. You'll even see what you may call superstars come out and they have the same name as something that needs to get buried. So pay attention to that. But Google's been a bad deal for us forever. That's a CIA DARPA created operation. I hope people have figured that out by now.
Yeah, well, I think after this weekend, it's going to alert a lot more people to it. I mean, the weather systems that we saw, I think it was Friday and Saturday, and maybe into Sunday too, is just not normal by any stretch of the imagination. So people are going to be asking a lot of questions about it. The damage is incredible. There was a video of a semi-truck flying through the air and landing in the road in front of these guys.
Well, maybe that's a disclosure on the new form of travel.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we don't like that one. I'm going to stay away from that one.
The original SpaceX rockets failed too to land properly.
That's
so
right.
Maybe this is just part of the experimental process.
Oh, brother. Maybe. Hey, friends, Lewis is at screwbiggov.com. I know you're looking forward to finding out more about what this man is up to. He's always running. He's like a marathoner who never stops. You can keep up with him here on screwbiggov.com. He's got swag for you. He's also got the social media button, which is my favorite button of all because that's how you can find him. I often go there, just click on the button. Got to go to his Telegram link and find him. Sometimes it's quicker than going through Telegram trying to search for him because there are a lot of fake and phony accounts that claim to be ScrewBigGov and really aren't.
It's called up clones. We don't like clones.
We don't like the clones. The Clone Wars. So that's how you avoid that. You get the real thing when you go there, and there's more coming. The app is out, friends. If you're an Android user, the app is available. Want to keep up with me? Renegade Media on Telegram, and also you can email me, robert@renegademedia.tv. It's always a good place to find all kinds of stuff that I've been posting there all weekend. And, we posted something on the weekend and somebody said, hey, this is fake. I went and looked and sure enough, it wasn't what I thought it was. So it got removed. So not only do we do that here for the show, but we do it in our Telegram socials as well.
Yep. Guys, if you want to get the Freedom in Action app, just go to screwbiggov.com and download it right there for Android. It is in beta. There are some glitches already. Just please use it. And the idea is, guys, it has geo-targeting function where you can focus on your actual area. Now, it will take a while to get enough people on there so you get enough action within your area. So you can change it from 10 miles all the way up to 4,000 miles. So you can see what's going on and test the app and help us out and give us a reply at screwbiggov@protonmail.com. In the subject line, put app. And then if you have a question or something that needs to be fixed, let us know, because this is in beta and we're looking to fully launch it in 2 weeks. And we're going to have a mass campaign on this because we do think it's a game changer, and it is very expensive, guys. It takes $0 for you to sign up.
$0 means you need to go do it now.
Yep.
Screwbiggov.com, that's where you'll find the link to it, and you'll get the APK, I think, is what you download, right, for this one, because it's not in the Google Play Store yet.
Yeah, it won't be in the Google Play Store. And, well, it's also going to be in the iStore also for a couple of weeks because I want to get some of the bugs worked out of it before I put it in there, because I already know that they're going to look for an excuse to pull it down. So I'm also trying to figure out how to write this disclaimer in a way that protects us from getting pulled down if somebody does something like a knucklehead would do. By the way, if somebody does something stupid on there, we already know it would be an infiltrator doing it to pose like they're a patriot. So we know the game.
Yep.
But we need to protect ourselves to keep it up as long as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a really powerful tool when it's out and we get enough users on it. It's going to be a really powerful tool because that's the number one question people always ask. It's like, I want to meet more people who think like I think. Easier now, somewhat easier now. People are starting to warm up to the idea that they can have these kinds of conversations with people. There's this growth that's happening in our society. It's been years now. I haven't held back. I have those conversations with pretty much anyone, but I know a lot of people don't do that yet. And, the more we do it, the more you'll realize we're actually the bigger group out there. There's more like us than there on the other side. The other side's just louder.
Yep. So true.
Yeah. That's why they call us conservative, right? We're conservative. We're quiet about it all. The other side should be called the activists.
I think we should turn into the activists.
Yeah, well, we should have a little bit more active in our being, for sure. So we think weather manipulation, weather warfare. Ben Fulford was talking about that in his newsletter today. That's going on, and the good guys are apparently working to stop some of it. They have stopped some of it, but not all of it, and they still have their finger on some of the buttons. So, could that be one of the things that disrupts November 5th?
Yeah, it could. I mean, here's what's interesting. And we still have some work to do because one of our kids is fairly awake. But my wife said something about chemtrails, and he like, what? That's not true, right? But it was real easy to overcome. Let's call that an objection. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's funny. Why would have Tennessee outlawed chemtrails, and why is Texas going to bring something up in order to do the same if they did not exist? That's all you have to say, right? So clearly they exist, right? And people are starting to figure out that weather manipulation in general, and maybe that's the way we should start talking about it. It's an absolute real thing. And we mentioned this during the Lahaina event, let's call it that, right? That assuming the good guys are doing a good job, they don't have their hands on everything.
Right.
And they can't. This is a massive operation that's literally been going on thousands of years, 2 millennia at least, that I can track down.
And it's also global. It's not. We have this idea, this myopic vision that we just see it as the United States, but it's not.
No, again, I think all roads lead back to Switzerland, which people can go, what? No, it's the best. No, you'll find out differently.
Yeah.
So, anyways, in my opinion, that there's still elements and pockets. You would call them cells of deep state activity. So I do believe one of the easiest things that they can do, because it's really hard to get a hold of, is the chemtrails and weather manipulation. Because based on knowledge I have directly, I know the weather manipulation is actually portable. That's a whole nother story. But it's portable. It can go in a vehicle and travel, and they can create problems. So it's really hard to get their hands on, just like direct energy weapons, or let's state laser weapons are really hard to get a hold of also, because you can front mount those on a drone or a plane and so on and so forth and do a lot of damage. So I do expect there's a lot of that still out there. And they're going to try to create as much chaos as they can.
There's the weather manipulation. There's, Biden's team talking about declaring a climate emergency that would give them a lot of extra powers that they wouldn't have normally. So there's a lot of different pieces in play right now. It's hard to see which one they're going to use, but I'm with you, Lewis. I think they're going to use them all. Desperation. They'll push all the buttons.
Exactly. Yeah. They're going to throw everything at the wall that they possibly can. And they're going to lose.
Well, they're gonna make a mess for a little while, but I think people are aware, and they're not going to freak out as much as they might have had they not been aware. Shows like ours that kind of bring the calm and the logic to the whole thing, help people not be too crazy about it when it happens. You can look at it and go, okay, we see it's happening. We see there's some bad stuff out there, but realize we're in a war. And there are good guys working on our side. It's not going to be clean. We're all hoping that it's going to be clean. I don't think it will be.
Let me address something real quick, folks. Please like, share, and follow. And if you're subscribed on Rumble, can you double check your subscription? I'm seeing an anomaly in Rumble. for the last 10 minutes, the live numbers have not budged. They've been exactly the same, which is mathematically impossible. So it's let's just make sure that sometimes we have to fight these things, and the way we do it is we just have to do our due diligence and get the word out. So
Yeah.
we appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. We do appreciate it. Real important to do that. I got a picture today of every tornado from April 26th to 27. Just look at this for a moment. What now? That can't be possible.
Lord. I'd sure like to compare it to like last year at this time. That looks crazy.
Yeah, if it's true, crazy.
That's amazing.
Then you see if you see something like that, then you go, wait a minute, there is weather manipulation happening. You can't walk away from that storyline at this point.
I know. Can we would we be able to live if that was like that every day? People just wouldn't even go out of their houses in that area.
Yeah. Well, I had a conversation with a friend yesterday, asked me what I was doing on Sunday, and I said Sunday is testosterone building day, and he goes, what the hell are you talking about? I said, as a male, we talked about this on Friday with Lance, right? We're estrogen dominant. You look at today's college-age boys, and they're built like beanstalks. What happened to the Charles Atlas, broad shoulders, muscular? That's all gone. We're estrogen dominant. So the question then becomes, okay, what do I do on Sundays? Well, I do the manly stuff. I'm out there on the ranch and cutting grass and fixing things and doing all that kind of stuff. Outside doing that work, building testosterone up. That's one way men do that. And ladies, and Lewis says this all the time. If he sets a goal, he hits it. Why? Because men focus on things. That's the way it is for us. So to be able to do that, we have to build that testosterone. We have to go do something physical outdoors or whatever to be able to do that. So that's Sunday for me. Now, why do I bring this up now? Is because of the weather manipulation that's happening. Right? How many of you men are going to be called into action to protect your women, your families, in the face of all this craziness? We think we're safe here in California, but any minute that earth could start rumbling. Everything could crumble around us. Our infrastructure could crumble. Then what? So I think it's a good idea, to build up your strength, physical, mental, emotional strength, because hopefully we won't face anything, but if we do, we want to be ready for it. What do you think, Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny enough, and unknowingly, I've been fighting the estrogen my whole life. And what I mean by that is, so I was raised on soy. I was not breastfed, which, by the way, is a huge freaking mistake.
Yep.
But, my mom was convinced by a doctor, of course, that this would be the best way to go. No, but so where's the common sense, though? And this is not defaming my mother, but where's the common sense when it comes down to it? And this is where we've been so brainwashed. When the doctor says, you drink soy have your baby drink soy because that's better than the breast milk that your body produces for your baby. This is the way people need to start thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this was new back then. This was the 60s, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not as if they had much knowledge back then. So she just went around with her doctor. So I've always ran high, I thought, emotionally, where my testosterone should be, but my body had a lot of problem with that growing up because I was a beanpole, right? And I believe it had a lot to do with that. So I really got into sports and exercising and so on and so forth in order to build it. And I found out, of all things, deadlifts, which ended up preventing me. I don't tell the story much. I probably won't tell it today, but it prevented me from being paralyzed from the waist down because I did deadlifts and it protected me in a skydiving accident. And what happened is that actually helps build your human growth hormone, boost your testosterone, and everything else. So there's a lot of things that men can do to become men again. And it sounds really funny.
It's real important.
But I have to be open about that. I was fed soy like crazy when I was a kid until I started figuring it out, right? And had to actually make conscious decisions in order to be more manly. Crazy.
Yep. Really do, and today's boys need to really act like men again, and to toughen up because they're very, very weak, and they're offended by words, for God's sakes. What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? Not true anymore, is it?
Well, interesting enough, I just had this conversation yesterday with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's these little riddles that were fed and these little sayings and these poems as a kid, guys, those are psyops because they would say all the time. We just had this conversation. It's amazing you brought it up. Yesterday said, sticks and stones will break my bones, but word or names will never hurt me. Well, on the outside, it says, okay, that's just a way. And I taught my kids this, by the way. So I was guilty of this. That's a way to show people that, okay, just don't let it get to you. But at the same time, the words that people say to you are virtual spell casting. Because if they keep repeating the mantra over and over, your psyche starts to believe it.
Yep.
Many times we're finding out that names can actually hurt you a lot more than physically. And therapists that have a conscious have actually found this out over the years. So that's another balance. It's something I taught. We have 7 kids. It's something I taught the kids. You can't be affected by what somebody says, but at the same time, now as an older parent, I realize yeah, but you know what? The words are still bad. Names are bad. Mm-hmm. So we realize that. So again, just another psyop that we've been positioned to.
Yeah. Well, the message is toughen up because we have some rough days ahead. It looks like it's going to be an interesting summer. It looks like the protests are just getting off, and clearly they are coordinated. Clearly they are paid for. These protests at the colleges, you look at all the signs, and they're all professionally done, and everyone gets one. And then we see ads in Craigslist and stuff like that looking for protesters. $20 an hour, come protest. So we know this is happening, and we're probably going to have a lot more unrest intentionally. So time to toughen up, I think, huh?
Agreed.
What do you think? What does Reggie have to say about this, Lewis?
Oh, you got the new Reggie picture.
Tell me about Reggie. Haven't met him yet.
Reggie is a full-bred, 100% German Shepherd. He looks like Black Lab to me, but my family tells me I'm nuts. And by the way, they're right. They ended up doing a DNA test on him, so they ended up being completely right. I thought he's a lot bigger than his parents, so I just assumed that somebody slipped in the yard and to the mom, but I was wrong.
Oh.
That being said, though, Reggie, that big boy, he's 165 plus pounds and growing.
He's looked like he's enjoyed a steak or two in his life.
Oh, yeah. He's 3 years old, very active, but he's a big boy, and he just pushes our other dogs, literally pushes them out of the way.
Wow.
If he wants to actually pushes us out of the way, too. He'll walk right through you if he has a goal. But they're so healthy. We're so blessed. And, if we were not even selling the food and the treats from Pet Club 24/7, I would have to recommend it all the time, just based on the results of our 3 loved ones, the dogs. It's just absolutely.
And there are the other 2 there.
Oh yeah, there's the 10-year-old on the left and the 17-year-old on the right, who my wife renamed Benjamin Button because he seems like he's getting younger, not older.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, in the conversation with Kristen, she had sent us a text about another lady who had an older dog that they thought was end of life, and all of a sudden start feeding the Pet Club 24/7 food, and that dog is doing really well 6 months later. She has thousands of these testimonials, and it's real important if you love your pet to give them the right food. The stuff we're buying in the stores is not healthy. It's full of sugars and additives and things that dogs in the wild would never eat, never have exposure to. This is why they come down with human diseases, because they eat poison food like humans do. Clue for you, too. Find the link to Pet Club 24/7. Just look in the description of the videos. They are there, depending on which channel you're watching on. And certainly give it a shot. Try it with your pet for 30 days and see what happens. I think you're going to like the results. You're going to be more energized. The coats are going to look shinier and healthier. And yeah, they're going to love you more too. They're going to be closer to you, which I really enjoy that part. Yeah. Cool.
Hey, let me hit on something real quick.
Yes.
Our buddy Tom in chat in regards to the weather manipulation says, where are our guys? I'm assuming he's talking about the gray hat, white hat dudes on the weather warfare. It's a brilliant question. So this is my hypothesis. I believe the reason why it's a lot tougher is because it's not one central location creating this problem. Again, this is the technology has been settled a long time ago, very easy, very portable. They could have these things all over the place. So it's very, very hard. It's like terrorist cells. Small terrorist cells are a lot harder to take out than a full army, right? Because the army is generally centrally located. You know their movements. You can activate against them. So I believe that's what it is. There's just so many of these little pockets of this stuff going on. I think it's a lot harder to wrap their hands around it. Maybe a reason why they're starting to enact these laws on chemtrails, it may come to weather manipulation yet. We may see laws within the states because then the states can activate their National Guard and their local forces to go after this stuff a lot easier than the feds. So we'll see what happens. I do believe we're going back to the republic model, which we should, but it takes a lot longer to get there than we would like.
Yep. Absolutely. Edward and Cowboy Grubber flattering me in the chat room. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I love our chat room for that. Arizona Republican Party. What did they do today? The weapons, Patriot Dan Schultz from PrecinctStrategy.com submitted the Ban the Jab resolution that the Republican Party of Arizona, the Arizona GOP, voted today and passed the resolution with approximately 96% of the vote. To date, they're approximately also calling on the governor to prohibit their distribution and the attorney general to confiscate the vials and conduct a forensic analysis. This is good news that we're moving forward. What do you think?
Yes, but there's a concern. It is definitely good news, and at least on the exposure part. What we have to realize is very important. When these parties do these edicts, and that's really all it is, it's a declaration of sorts of what should be done. They still need to go through proper legislatural or governor or attorney general and so on and so forth to implement these. So all the governor and the attorney general need to do is ignore it. And that's what's tough about these things is they could just literally ignore it, and then it would have to go through generally an election and get a 2/3 vote in order to implement something like this. So I think I look at this more as it's more of a great optics and exposure of what's going on, but I don't see that it has much meat to it because I don't see it going the Democratic Party stepping.
But now you can go to your family and friends and you can say, listen, why would there be a resolution to ban it if it were safe?
Well, you can at least go to your Republican family and friends, right? Because you know the way the Democrats, their brainwashing is pretty deep in there, so they'll probably reject it outright. But yeah, absolutely. So you should go. And we have to understand, and I by the way, I by no means support the Republican Party just because it's a deep state uniparty. Right. There's one party right now. But when you go down to the we the people, there's definitely more conservatives and most likely more Republicans than there are Democrats. So you're right. Using this information to your friends and family would be a phenomenal normie wake up. And I think ultimately that's where it holds the power, because it's a nothing burger within legislature. It's not going to go anywhere.
Giuliani,
Go ahead.
Giuliani was on Bannon's show this morning and being interviewed about all the lawfare, and he goes, it's not lawfare. That's like the wrong word for it. It's straight up communism, right? And this is the thing. We've got all these people recognizing that this is happening, that these jabs are bad, and we've been talking about it since the very beginning, and so many other people have as well. But we've been blocked and banned, and Naomi Wolf was talking about this too. It's like how many lives could have been saved because if she wasn't banned on all the platforms that she was on, because she had such a big voice. So then the question becomes, well, you can't go to the courts, you can't go to law enforcement, you can't go anywhere. So where do you go? Go back to We the People. And I think this is really important for that reason, because now you got something to point to say, look, some level of authority is claiming these are technological and biological weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not going to do that on a conspiracy theory. It's not going to go that far. But here you have at least a group of people in some form of power saying something.
Yeah,
You know?
I completely agree with you.
So progress. I look at this and it's like I can't expect, like you said, it's not going to go anywhere. Probably not. The governor will ignore it. The courts will ignore it. It doesn't really go anywhere. But that's not the point. I think the point is we can use it. It's a tool for us. It's in our toolbox.
It is. I absolutely agree with you, and I think that's the way we need to start looking at things too.
Right.
We can't just say blah. I believe a lot of this stuff is what you're calling it, and they are just tools. In fact, if I can get around to it, I'm going to create some form of a normie wake up X account. And the idea behind that, and I'm going to ask everybody here watching and listening to participate, I'll find a portal to start sending all the normie videos, maybe the things that even woke you up 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Those are, trust me, those are very impactful now. And the normie wake up on X, whatever we're going to call it, it'll grow really fast because people are going to constantly grab that and go send them to the friend and repost these. So That's going to be one of our fun projects. No promises when I'll start locking in on that one, but I think that'll be a good one.
Yeah, and it's needed. Like I said, we need a bigger toolbox, and the bigger the toolbox, the better, because you never know what kind of situation you run into, who you're talking to, where you need. Phoebe's doing this all the time. She uses Renegade Media on Telegram as kind of her toolbox, right? So when she runs into a family member or whatever who's totally indoctrinated on the other side, she'll send them videos, and she'll go back through it and send videos and clips and stuff like that, and it starts to wake them up a little bit. Doesn't change them immediately. You're not expecting that, but you plant seeds, and the seeds will at some point germinate and start to grow. Got to give it time. All right. Are you ready to bring some heat? What do you think?
Is it that time? Is it heat time?
It's time to bring the heat.
Let me take a sip of my drink really quick.
There you go. It's all yours, my friend. Take her away.
Do I get a fiery display or anything? Nothing like that?
Well, you get that.
Okay, here we go. Okay, folks. So for today's Herms Bring the Heat, daily, I'm about rewind, cut, edit. Okay, let's try this again. Daily, I'm asked about my opinion on other truthers. I know we've been hearing it a lot of drama there. Now, to be frank, I have my suspicions on many. Yes, even though have been on the Truth Tour and interviews that I've conducted. Now I hear you saying, Lewis, just tell us, please, just tell us who they are. It's not going to happen. But I will say, if I see something blatant, like a truther claiming the towers on 9/11 were taking a light on them, for sure. Short of that, I give them a lot of rope, as they are still useful idiots for us, so we can understand how to use these grifters and controlled operators to our advantage. There are markers to look at. Did their popularity explode overnight? Do they only have a singular message? Do they claim to be an insider? Are they selling something? Well, that's fine, but does it seem to be their main focus? Most importantly, what are the fruits of their labor? Are they truly making a difference? See, I think the truther drama is a major distraction. And even if some have ill intentions, they can still be used for our advantage. This is why I choose to stay neutral and bring unity, not division. Think about that next time somebody wants to ask me about a truther. There's a purpose why I'm remaining neutral on this. And I think sometimes silence is a lot more powerful than anything else.
Oh, Lewis, you're so much on the same page with me. Yeah, so important. You know, the craziness that goes on in our community sometimes is just like, it's unreal to see it, and it's sad in a lot of ways that people would put ego above helping the people they're here to help. I don't look at this show, and you don't look at this show. You don't look at anything that we do. I don't put the spotlight on me ever. I always, grab that spotlight and turn it back to the audience, because that's what's important, not me. I'm just the messenger, right? And I wish more would do that and stop making it about themselves and how many subscribers they have and how many sales they make. And I know some people are just focused on it. The patriots, as we call them, P-A-Y. There's that group. There's the people who just go for the clicks. They go for the drama. They go for the intel. They're always wrong, by the way, but they go for it anyway. And they get all these people viewing, and then people get frustrated. It's one of the feelings I had after the Truth Tour, the Truth-a-thon, I should say, on Saturday. There's a lot of frustration in our community, waiting to see things happen. And we've been sort of in this suspended animation mode for quite some time. We're waiting for, where's that breakthrough? And I think we're close to that breakthrough. It's big. It's going to take time, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I think we are. And ultimately, I think these people expose themselves. I don't feel it's even necessary to go out and try to expose them. And I'm not faulting any podcaster or truther that is trying to expose the truther. I really ain't having an issue with that. If you have real hardcore evidence, that's fine. But what does it serve? That's the question. And when you, as we the people, decide to take that and forward it, are you at that moment, are you picking a side? Because if so, that just creates division.
Right.
And I've seen it. I've seen it with General Flynn. I've seen it with Mickey Klon. I've seen it with Scott McKay. It's like you have to pick a side. And if you don't, whatever side you're on, there's opposition. What's the point of that? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if General Flynn's bad or he's good right now, whatever. You use his information, right? If it works for you, if you can wake up somebody, let's unify and come together. I don't really understand, and maybe this is just me, this seems like either reality TV drama to me, right? And that's my biggest challenge with it. And folks, if we're still attracted to that, maybe we need to look within and figure out if that's truly part of our ascension.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have a video coming up that'll help with that too. Right? Right, Lewis? Of course.
100.
All right.
What?
You got some of this? You got some of this sitting there?
Oh, I not only got it, boom.
Oh, so refreshing. It's warm here today, so this is so refreshing to do a couple of sprays. Guys, this is Neumi Skin. This is a glutathione product for those of you who want to look a little bit younger, have your face a little bit brighter. People always say, it's like, you got the glow, you got the glow. How do you get the glow? Well, this is one way you do this. This is a nanoparticleized glutathione. And Lewis and I were talking about this earlier. I said, 10 years ago, the technology to do this probably didn't exist. This is new, where they can take the glutathione, which helps with oxidative stress, and they made it really, really tiny. So this one you could spray on your skin, actually gets absorbed in the skin and helps you with things like wrinkles and aging spots and things like that. Helps get rid of some of that stuff or lighten them up so they're not as apparent. And ladies now are going around without makeup. This is our friend Christine Geiger, who did a lot to make the Truth-a-thon happen. Look at the difference a year makes with this. Incredible. So this is with makeup on the left, without makeup on the right. So she did both the skin and also NutriSwish, which is the one you take and you put in your mouth, swish it around for 2 minutes. It's absorbed mostly under the tongue, and the glutathione gets right into your system, gets right to work, helps you deal with oxidative stress, detoxification, gives you a little bit of boost in energy, helps you recover from physical activity, which I did a lot yesterday, so it helped me recover really quickly. I'm feeling great today, and helps you even sleep better. you can find out more about these products. We have them for you. The link is in the description. And for the ladies, we have Neumi hers, and that helps with all kinds of things that time of the month that go kind of off the rails for ladies, and also with the hot flashes. People are ladies are telling us hot flashes get canceled out in seconds, and sometimes just under 10 minutes they're completely gone. It's a nanoparticleized botanical solution, which is really powerful. So links are in the description of the videos, and you'll find them there. And we appreciate your support, those of you who are with Neumi and are using the products, and we love getting your stories. And also, we appreciate Neumi for supporting our program.
Now, I have an interesting story about this.
Oh, tell me.
Carol Maureen Friesen's going to love to hear. So this weekend we were out to what's it? I don't know, lunch, dinner, something with our kids, right? And one of our sons, his eye was just so inflamed because of allergies. And I was just about ready to say, hey, this happens to me often, and it does. And I keep my eyes open and I spray the Neumi in my eyes, and it goes away. The inflammation goes away. It's amazing. But my wife beat me to it. She's like, here, and she handed him Carol's honey and said, put this in your eye, and that did wonders also. So Carol, you if your ears were burning this weekend, you know why.
Now you know
my
why.
wife was talking about the honey. Oh, by the way, Carol, since you're listening, she wanted to know the exact name of that honey, because I knew that was a special one. Because she wanted to just tell our son what the name of it was. But yeah, so that was funny. We have a Neumi story almost every day in our household. That's how amazing it is.
Yeah, it's a great product, and like you said, it's one of the best products that we found. And people send us a lot of products, and sometimes we use them, and sometimes we go, yeah, that didn't do anything, and not something that we can stand behind, because we have to see the result personally before we can talk about it. It's like we'd be out of integrity if we didn't.
Okay, so literally this afternoon, my lovely wife Araceli asked me, she goes, because there's been a product I've been testing, and I was shown how the compensation that I would make a lot of money on it, and she was actually excited because it could be something that could be beneficial for we the people. She just asked me a couple hours ago. She goes, so what did you decide? Are you going to do this? I go, no, I'm not going to do it. So we're telling you, folks, we turned down so many things, and I'll talk to you offline about which product that I decided not to. But there's reasons for this. If we're not going to get results from it, or we can't see the efficacy on it, it doesn't matter what they offer us. We are not going to bring it out to we the people. It's just not going to happen.
That's right. If you want us to promote your product, send it to P.O. Box. We'll get lots of samples that way, and then we can evaluate even more, because we have tons of time for that kind of thing.
1717 Nunya Business, California.
Oh, brother. All right. Joe Biden, the fake Joe Biden, of course, looks to prevent future president from ending the Ukraine war with a 10-year agreement. You see this one pop up?
Again, they're trying to influence the election, in my opinion, by doing what they're doing to him. So the GOP is not absolved from this. In fact, I always tell you, the enemy that's closest to you that claims they're your friend are a worse enemy than the ones that tell you who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you see the clip from Seinfeld that popped up this morning?
I don't think so.
All right. Short clip.
Nothing really affects comedy. People always need it. They need it so badly, and they don't get it. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, oh, MASH is on, oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on, All in the Family's on. You just expected, there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. When you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about this joke, well, that's the end of your comedy. They move the gates, like in skiing. Culture, the gates are moving. Your job is to be agile and clever enough that wherever they put the gates, I'm going to make the gate.
So yeah, he had commentary on that. It's like they're interfering with what he can say, what he cannot say, and it just destroys comedy.
Well, they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We often say, and it's not a joke, that the left has no sense of humor whatsoever. All you have to do is look at the memes.
Look at their memes. They're horrible.
Yeah, look at the memes that come out from the conservative. They will make you tear up and laugh and maybe pee your pants. The memes from the left are hateful, nasty, no comedy whatsoever. So think about that mentality, and then them being part of the review process of a show. All they care about. Great. Okay, here's. Let me tell you guys a barometer. This is a really, really, really good one. If there's a movie that comes out there from generally an independent source, not a huge studio, there's two markers. They have the Rotten Tomatoes markers, right, which is the actual critics, and then they have the popcorn marker, which are the people that watched it.
Right.
I actually see movies that are 95 to 99% people loved it. Almost always the critics would be like 40%, 50%, 30%, because that means that movie, that, by the way, if you want to watch a good movie, just look at the popcorn side, because that means that movie probably doesn't have the political correct bullshit in it that the critics needed in order to give it a high rating. It's really fun now. It's like, it's very easy. So I joke around with my wife because we are moviegoers. And if we see the critics low and the popcorn high, we're like, we're going to like this movie.
I love it. I love it. He's 70, Seinfeld, now.
Damn, he's looking good. He must take Neumi.
He's got a tremor, though. A lot of people on Facebook and on Twitter are pointing out that he had a tremor in that video where he's just kind of shaking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he damn well better get on Neumi.
A little bit of Parkinson's setting in there, maybe. I don't know. Something.
Hope he didn't take the vax.
Can't verify one way or another.
It's interesting, though. Could he have had a talking to? Because I do believe he was part of the club.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody talked to him. Don't know. I believe we're going to. If you were a pedo, have an opportunity to do anything good for us, right?
Right.
But if you were somebody in the know and still played their games, maybe there's a capitulation or there's a deal that's made that you may have a chance. And I feel that's probably the only, like Robert David Steele would say, reconciliation's the only way. That may be the only way we really get through this war. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot more public figures start to expose this stuff. But we'll see. He could be controlled opposition also.
He could be. All right. Don't be too quick to judge. Shall we play the video, or do you want to set this one up?
Okay. We're playing this video, guys, because we need to get our vibrations as high as possible, right? We cannot live in fear and the doldrums and the woe is me's. So this video, this is our gift to you. Watch it, absorb it. I would stop chatting during it because...
Whew.
That was so good.
Some of those were amazing. Yeah, they were well done. Well done.
It was very professional, too. It was just so good.
Yeah. Done by a crew with a lot of creativity, I will say.
Yeah, that was fun.
We had Lance on Friday. Lance is a great guest. He talked a lot about nutrition. We talked a lot about healthcare and FDA and stuff. If you did not see that show, go back and watch it. A lot of good stuff in there. A lot of people were commenting on it and saying, man, it was really good to have Lance. We're going to have Lance back regularly. He's one of our sponsors. Really love his products. You can find out more about what he's got going on. SBG Ascent, ASCENT. You'll find it there. We talk about the pine pollen extract, and we talk about the pine needle extract. They are not the same. They're used for different things. And Lewis and I had a little epiphany after the show about the pine needle stuff that, the pine cones, the pine tree, the pine bark, and lycopodium, and the homeopathic remedy. So there's something in the pine that's probably more than we realize right now for our health is really good for us. So
Pine pineal gland.
Pineal.
Pineal gland.
Look at that. That's another one we didn't think about. Yeah.
And by the way, it directly helps decalcify that. Go figure. I think it's been done on porpoise. There's a lot of clues out there for us.
Well, what tree do we celebrate at Christmas, right?
The pine tree.
It's the pine tree.
You know, a lot of people say it's pagan and blah, 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 blah. But still, it's a pine tree, and a pine tree is good. It has a lot of gifts on a pine tree.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. A lot of gifts under the pine tree. In this case, inside the pine tree.
Good point.
SBG Ascent, check them out. Lance is a supporter of our show, and he's a regular contributor as well. He is also a patriot, my friends. We thank him for his support of our show. California went crazy. They put on Twitter, they said, hey, we're getting our own $1 coin to honor innovation, and it's slated to be issued in 2026, and we need your help with some designs. So they got some help. Here's some of the designs. I see a lot of tents in there. What do you think? A tent city.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
How about that one in color?
Mask or a jab. There you go.
There you go. A little bit better, right? And then, here you go. Here's one. That one would work. I love it. These guys are really good. Gavin's priority of the White House. The state of California is crashing and burning. Who cares, right? So, oh, boy. And Biden, he gets a warm welcome wherever he goes these days.
Wow, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for nothing. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
No words to explain that look, right?
He's like, what did I walk into?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Guys, I'm just an actor. Leave me alone. It's a mask.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, the person under the mask is going to get so upset. He's like, I'm just an actor. He's going to pull off the mask and he's like, I'm done. I can't handle the abuse.
Can't do it anymore. Oh, brother. Yeah. Hey guys, that's our show for today. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with your friends and followers. Lewis, any last words before we wrap up for today?
Yeah. Tomorrow is Q&A day with Clueless Lewis. That's Q&A tomorrow with Clueless Lewis. And Thursday, we're bringing back a phenomenal guest, and he has brand new information. ENG Anon will be on Thursday. What a great
Thursday we have Richard Gage on.
Oh, I thought that was the next Thursday.
No, that's this Thursday. We have Richard Gage on.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go. Richard Gage is amazing. Tell them about Richard really quick.
Richard was with the Architects of America, who was the first group to debunk 9/11. So he's going to be sharing information. He's going to start with World Trade Center 7, not the towers. Going to start with why 7 was destroyed, what was in it, why they destroyed it, how they destroyed it. It's going to be a really fascinating conversation. We got him for the whole hour, so we can ask him questions, and Mitch Axelrod will be on as well. Mitch is responsible, I think, for putting this interview together, and also Mitch worked with them. He didn't tell anybody about this, but he worked with them back in 2002, 2003, when they needed publicity, they needed help. He actually helped put them on the map, so he's a big influence there. So he put the interview together, so I invited him along too, so he probably won't be jumping in that much, but certainly be part of the show. So we're looking forward to that. We'll do that show. I'll be on that show with you, Lewis, as well. We'll do it with this system here rather than EVMux. But I'll let you lead the conversation, because I think there's a lot to share. He's given me a bio. He's given me all kinds of documentation to look at, and it's like mind blown. You know, it's really cool to see what he's going to bring to the table. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. So that's my fault. We'll reschedule. I thought for some reason that he was next week. So we'll reschedule ENG. But ironically, ENG believes that there was a direct energy weapon that was on the top of 7, and that's why they took it down in order to hide that. So we'll try to compare this information together.
Yeah.
So therefore, maybe I'll get him for tomorrow, or I'll still do Q&A. We'll know soon, because I'll post exactly what I'm going to do.
Where are those dice when you need them, you know?
Right. And who do we have for Friday?
I don't have anybody on my schedule yet for Friday. We have to get somebody for Friday.
Yeah, I think Matt Geiger may be for Friday.
Okay.
We'll have to figure that one out.
Good, because
All right,
I've got
guys.
some questions for Matt.
Cool.
Matt, I got questions. Excellent.
Got questions over here.
I got questions over here, my friend. You got to talk to me, huh? All right. We appreciate you. We love you all. Thank you so much for being part of our community. You make this worthwhile. This is why we do it, to help you and, give you the seating. I know a lot of people ask for bits and pieces from past shows. Can we chop them up? Lisa does that. She chops up some pieces, and they do get posted on Lewis's Telegram. Really good to share those little clips with people who need a little bit of red pilling. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate you.